Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Clinked webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about communication using Clinked. It's a very important topic. I think it's always one that we've decided to do more at the end of the year because communicating around the holidays is always a challenge. And also, it's a great opportunity to look at what you've done in the past year and be able to plan ahead for the next year. So with that, today you have myself, Sarah Broderick, and you also have my colleague, Hannah Keary. We will be talking to you today through a handful of topics. Starting off just from the agenda perspective, we are going to kick off with a bit of an introduction. We're going to go through some key stats as to why it's important to actually look at using communication tools inside of your client portal and what you can do to leverage those. We'll also go through some of the key features as well and highlight those to be able to help you understand where you could potentially leverage Clinked today to do more communications if you're not already doing it. And then lastly, we'll go through resources before we kick into our Q&A. So with that, we'll just kick off with the key stats. So why is client portal communication important? Before I kick into the stats themselves, I really just wanted to say, what is it that we're doing in this session itself? For us, we really wanted to ensure the fact that you all know that Clinked, while it is not a CRM, every member that's part of your Clinked portal actually does have their email address associated with their membership. And so because of that, Clinked can be utilized for communication if you wanted to send out a message to many people, and that's going to be our reach out functionality. Or, we have different communication tools that you might not think of as communication tools, such as our home pages or announcements, or also our tasks. So we're going to go through all of those today, but just to be able to frame up why is communication important, particularly in a client portal. The first is a bit of a key stat. So we had found a survey not too long ago that surveyed about 250 individuals in the business area to be able to understand what communication issues they've had. So of those people, 65% actually reported that they've lost a file in their own inbox or their personal hard drive. This is really important because as many of you use email, you might know that your email ends up becoming, your file cabinet. And in that regard, it makes it difficult to be able to find, say, documentation or to understand where, the latest task that needed to get done with your clients, where it stood. And so with that, I thought that was really interesting that 65% of people did report that they've actually lost it. So there's a problem when it comes to the email side of things. Next up, 92% of those people also said that they had to repeat information to 2+ people within an organization. Now, those organizations could be their clients, it could be their partners, and it could also be internally. But that's such a high percentage. I know, within all relationships, you tend to have to repeat yourself. However, when you can use a client portal, if you're using that to be able to work with clients, partners, and internal team members, to actually be able to reduce this number. So you can just tell people, go to the portal, and you'll actually find all your information. Then also 96% of people also reported that businesses that they deal with could improve their communication as well as their project management. Again, high percentage. And in that, if there's a single location where all interactions happen together, which is, really what a client and partner portal is for, provides you an opportunity to be able to reduce that and to be able to have your organization be better represented or be better recognized as a highly communicative and productive organization when it comes to client relationships. And generally that tends to be project management. Lastly, we thought that this stat was interesting, that 22% of businesses that do use an online tool actually did say that their communication with clients has been rated excellent. So excellent off of a scale of excellent, very good, good, and poor. So if we combined up the very good in there as well, it would actually take you to over 50%, which is a great stat. This is versus 12% just communicating via email. And the email side of things, I think, does very much rely on that first stat with the 65% having lost data. So with that, really, we wanted to give you some information to be able to have key stats to talk about maybe internally to help you be able to convince more people within your organization why they should be using your client portal, help you with internal adoption on your side. And with that, really making sure that you can turn the dial on your client experience from into green. So where they feel very efficient in your communication with all of your clients, as well as partners and team members. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Hannah to be able to discuss key features within Clinked.
So I'm just going to talk you through our languages options in Clinked. So Clinked is available in 16 languages, and this is for efficient communication across the globe. So as you can see from the map, we have Clinked available in English, both GB and US, Italian, Spanish, Turkish, Russian, and Chinese, just to name a few. And languages can be set at the account level, or individual members can change their language preference in their personal settings. So firstly, we're just going to look at the account level setting. So accounts can be set in any of these languages as a default account language for all members. And by default, all accounts are initially set up in English. But to change this, to change the language, an account administrator can choose the language and account settings. So you can see here, they would just need to go to the account settings and then go to region, and then select that drop down, and you can see you've got different language options there. Members also have the option to change their personal language, and this will not change the account language settings. This will just be for their personal use only. So members may access this option in personal settings and then just navigate into that region tab that you can see there, and they'll have that option to select a different language if they want their account to be in a different language, and that would just change for that member. So we're just going to take a look at the group home and how you could maybe use your group home to improve your client communication. So welcome notes provide a way to communicate with your teams and clients. As you can see there, we've got an example welcome note for Willow Bend. So you can see there they've put in an introduction and added some buttons and images that can link them to that fund, and so you can just click straight in and navigate to their fund that they're working on. But welcome notes, basically designed to provide an overview, introduction, and provide key resources to your clients. And the welcome note can establish the group's purpose. And we also do have a recent webinar that goes into detail about how you would go about designing your client experience, if that's something that you wanted to explore in more detail. So I'm just going to show you a few more examples of welcome notes for an interactive way of working. So you can see here we've got a coaching company, so they are sort of a university course. So you could just, their students could just log in and then read that introduction to them, and then within that welcome note, they've got instructions of what they need to do when they log in, so they know that they need to straight away complete that course registration form that you can see there we've just created as a note. And then this one is Porter Investment. So you can see there they've customised their welcome note for them. So they've added in a video as an introduction, and then they've added in buttons as well. So that's useful links to invoices, receipts, etc. for quick access. We also have announcements in Clinked. So announcements can be created to provide an effective way to quickly communicate a message to your clients or your internal teams. And these widgets are designed to display an informative announcement in the member dashboard or the group home. So firstly, you have the option to create an account-wide announcement in the main members dashboard. But you also have the option to create one in your group home. As you can see there, we've got the team building exercise in green. So that's one that this group has chosen to display in there. So you can also have multiple announcements, but if you wanted to have more than one, this would need to be within the group homepage. So the announcement area that you've created on the main dashboard will be the one that's carried across, but you also have the option to create a personalised one as well within the group. You can see here that you can change the colour and things. So here we have a red and blue one pictured, and one is titled the COVID-19 update, and the other one is a weekly billing reminder. So this is an example of multiple announcements within a group homepage, and the blue one has been carried across from the main group, whereas the additional weekly billing announcement has just been specifically designed for this group. So yeah, their team members can go in and it will be there permanently to remind people to fill out their weekly billing for their clients. And you can also edit widgets just by going to the top right and selecting your edit widgets, and then you can add announcements from there. Another feature that we have is the reach out feature. So I'll just talk you through where to find it first. So if you're a super admin, you'll find the reach out icon on the main members dashboard at the top between the members list and search icons, as you can see there. But you will only be able to see it if you are a super admin. So why would you use reach out? Reach out is a great method of communicating to multiple groups at once. This feature gives you the option to send out mass emails to either individual groups or all groups. And you can also send a test email yourself to check the layout before sending. So you can see here we've got various reach outs. So I've created a monthly fact sheet and some party invitation. So it's got wide uses really. So yeah, you can sort of use it from a newsletter announcement or an event invitation to all of your business go forward plans. But you can see here I've created a monthly fact sheet announcement and then just added a link in there. So whoever needs to see that will get that reminder straight away and just click on the link to the announcements. And you'll also be able to add attachments and view who's seen it in that tab there. You can view who's seen it as well. So how to create one, it's pretty straightforward. You just need to firstly go to the megaphone icon, and then once you've clicked into that, it will take you to this page, and you will be able to see previous reach outs, and then just click on the new reach out button. As you can see there, it's circled, and then that will take you into the second page. And here you just need to select your group. So you can either type in the group name or just click that select button and select the groups. And yeah, so this is just an example of the two options there. So the first one on the left is if you're just typing in the group name, it will come up with all of your groups and you just need to select that group. And then the second option is that add from groups option, and then that will come up with all of your groups. So you can just select it. So it's up to you which one you use. So then you just need to enter a subject line in your text. You can also add media, links, or attach a document straight from your computer. For example, here I've created a reminder email for a monthly fact sheet announcement that's been released to the stock exchange and attached the link for easy navigation to the announcement. And then I have selected the client group, which includes all the directors who will need to see this announcement. And then once your reach out is ready, you can send the test email, or you can just hit send to send out that email to your group. So yeah, another stat revealed that when people use an online tool to manage their projects, they're twice as likely to rate their levels of efficiency, communication, and organisation as excellent. And we offer a task management feature within Clinked, and this is really useful for making your action lists and communicating actions across your team or clients. And it's also really useful for keeping track of your tasks. So you can see there, that's what it looks like for us in Clinked. So I'm now just going to hand you back over to Sarah to talk through our resources.
Great, thanks so much, Hannah. I think one of the things to mention is on the task management side of things, if you are curious to explore it a bit more, you can go into our help center to be able to find it, and I'll take you through that in a moment. I know tasks are not something you usually think about when it's communication. However, it is communicating of actions. So I always think that's a good way of being able to look at it as a communication tool as well. So in terms of resources, as you all are using Clinked, you always have the option to use help within Clinked. So you would navigate into it by going to your profile, hitting the drop down, and then choosing help. That will navigate you directly into our help center. However, if you don't see the help center, it could be it could be because it's been turned off by yourself as an account admin. It is something that is part of our white label application side of things, so it could be turned off. However, if you don't see it, have no fear. We have also created a help and learning center, which you can access just by going to clinked.com, going to the resources area, and then choosing the help and learning center. When you navigate there, you are able to use the same functionality as our help center. So you just type in help and it will come up with different articles. In addition, we'll always have our latest webinar that's up there, so similar to this. And then as you navigate down the page, there's various components to be able to help with either getting started, troubleshooting, things of that nature, or a link to our webinars. With that, when you do actually follow that link to our webinars, you will always be navigated to our Clinked YouTube channel. There you can actually follow to be able to be a subscriber so that you know whenever a new webinar has been added. And then you're able to watch the webinars. So similar to what we're doing today, we will actually post this later today. You can see all of our past webinars on here and be able to get a quick overview of any particular topics that we've discussed. Similar to what Hannah mentioned earlier, we did a session a couple weeks ago about designing a client experience, and that really focused on the welcome page or the home page for all of the groups. So that's a great one to have a look at. And you can just find that by going to the Help and Learning Center and clicking on the webinars link. Lastly, support. If there's anything that's going on your side that you need support with, whether that's a question about how to use the product, any kind of issues you might be encountering, or if there's any kind of inquiries about your package and things of that nature, you can drop us a message and we will get you, drop us a message at support@clinked.com, and we will immediately put you in contact with the right person. And then within that as well, if you can provide any additional details about anything that's going on, screenshots, things of that nature, it always speeds up the process. So with that, we'll move into our questions and answer section. So if you have any questions, please unmute yourself and say hi, or if you prefer to write it into the chat, you can do so as well there. Okay,
Hi, it's Susan. I was just going to ask a question about which is the design client experience video that you just mentioned, so I can have a look at that one.
Sure, of course. It was published a couple weeks ago. It's called Designing Your Client Experience, and you'll be able to find it right there. The topic was around how to actually create an impactful client experience, and we really did go through the group home in particular and all of the additional functionalities that you can do there, particularly through widgets.
Okay, lovely, thank you.
Yeah, of course. I think there is one question, Hannah, maybe this is one that you can answer. What would be, within Clinked, there are other communication tools that we thought would come up in this. Could you explain a bit more about chat and then also about discussions and how the two could be used?
So yeah, we just covered a few of like the communication tools today, but we also have discussions and we also have chat. Discussions is basically like a messaging forum, but it's a bit more formal than chat. So if you want to say to have a discussion that was group wide and not an instant sort of thing, but somewhere where people could collaborate on an ongoing discussion, you would use our discussions feature. And then we also have the chat for mobile and portal, and then you can do one-to-one messaging on that. You can also do it across a group, so that's quite useful at the moment if you're on the go or working remotely, to be able to quickly message your team member or the whole group as well.
Great, thanks, Hannah. Does anyone else have any more questions? If you do, please don't be afraid to unmute yourself and ask. We are happy to take any questions. Okay, well, I think with that, if you do have any questions that come up, please email us, support@clinked.com. We'd be happy to arrange a time to be able to speak about any questions that you have. Also, again, please go to any of our resources, so either help within Clinked or the Help and Learning Center. I would highly recommend visiting the Help and Learning Center. I think there's a lot of good content there, and it's been curated in a way that will be able to help you navigate around, and accomplish what you'd like to do within Clinked. So with that, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure to speak with all of you. Really hope that you found this helpful. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, holidays, whatever it is that you celebrate this time of year. I hope you have a wonderful time, and we will see you in the new year. So thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.